All right, babies, it's that time again. Oh, yeah. Getting a little sun. We are in Acts 21. And in Acts 21, Paul is traveling through Asia and encountering people giving him warnings of not to proceed because the Jews are planning on binding him hand and foot. Someone gets a vision of that and tells Paul. Paul basically says, that's what I came for. If they want to do that, they can do that. If they want to kill me, they can do that. But I'm here for Jesus. So then at one point, they start getting into their usual dispute between maintaining the Jewish customs and or not. And Paul is, of course, of the idea that in Christ we don't need the customs anymore. He's set us free and he's put us in right standing with God. Where some who have become Christians still want to maintain their Jewish customs. It's a big dispute that went on for quite a while, if not to this very day, if you think about it, right? There's people who are free in the spirit, and there's those who are bound by their attachments to former ideas and practices. So someone has, it's kind of confusing, someone has some kind of idea or something. There's like four Jews who they want Paul to participate in some kind of ceremony with them in the temple. And for some reason, Paul agrees to do that, maybe because he's trying to show some way of supporting them where they're at without causing too much of a conflict over it. So he goes to the temple with these four new converts, and it causes an uproar because people know what Paul believes, and they look at it as an abomination that he's in the temple. So they take him out, they beat him, and word gets to the authorities, and they come and investigate. And before Paul's taken away, he asks to speak to the people, and he starts to speak in their own language, Hebrew, and that's where the chapter ends. So, what do we want to make of that? I would say it's a precious depiction of the saints that have gone before us, who have withstood much more persecution than you and I have ever had to do. And we should be thankful that we live the way we do, to be free from beatings and threats of violence and ultimately death. Because there are still about on average, about 5,000 people a year are killed just because they're Christians. So we need to take that into account. On one hand, being ready to be persecuted if that's what God has for us. And on the other hand, to be thankful that we have had people like Paul who are willing to do what they did, which set a pattern, an unending rippling effect through all of history. That following Jesus is a life or death, life and death decision. And also we might want to look at areas in our lives where we are experiencing some sort of persecution for what it is we believe. Family members maybe don't want to associate with you, friends. You might not have the opportunities that you would have if you weren't so bold about your faith and love of Jesus. And so I would just encourage you to look at that as an honor that you are able to share in the very sufferings of Christ. Because obviously he suffered the ultimate persecution, but he was willing to do it because of the joy set before him, knowing that he would send an unending rippling effect and usher in a whole new kingdom where earthly experience could be heavenly. And so in the same way, even if we don't come to death or beatings, we should look at any sort of rejection, persecution, alienation, being ostracized as an honor, because it's a sign that we are properly aligned with our eternal bridegroom. And even though there are things in life that we have a difficult time understanding, and we might hear the echoes of Jesus' voice on the cross saying, my God, why have you forsaken me?" We need to remind ourselves that it might just be an answer to prayer, that we would share in his sufferings in order that the world see the strength of our faith is eternal and secure, no matter what the cost.